Hello, everybody, and we are back with Scaling Copium versus Universal Basic Income. I'm Ultravox, joined by Bill the Pony, and we're jumping straight on into draft. Let's see what's going on here today. Bill, what are you thinking about these teams?
Well, Universal Basic Income is a powerhouse. They have won three. They ran 3 straight games. Their last loss was against a really tough opponent. You might know them yourself. Maybe not.
Do I
Uh,
know them? I hand delivered them the L. I struck them the devastating blow, but I can't lord it over them too much. I heard that they weren't feeling the best last week. There's a lot of stuff going on for the individuals on YUBI, so I hope that they're all in a good headspace today and they're doing well.
well, I've heard that most of them are in mourning for not having Bill the Pony on their team anymore, and
Oh,
and they're just trying to adjust despite how incredibly strong Brian Sang is.
yeah. I guess it's pretty tough to cope without you, Bill, huh? But wow, these picks are going fast. Already, we got Hecarim selected for the side of Scaling Copium, Universal Basic Income, selecting Olaf and Caitlyn in response. It's going to be answered with Kaisa and support. Is going to be support here. Important to note is we got triple jungle bans for Scaling Copium. They're very scared of Utility Monster.
Yeah, and Universal Basic Income loves their flex picks. Olaf, this first pick, definitely a potential flex. Could be played by Red in the top lane, or it could be Utility Monster playing it in the jungle.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's good in either spot. I really love this Morgana pick. I think this is so good versus Nautilus. It makes his ult almost completely useless. It's even useful versus Hecarim. You prevent your AD carry from getting feared, from getting displaced. Fantastic pick, and it can also be flexed as well between Brian and Civilak, like what you were saying before.
Yeah, and they had already picked the Caitlyn, and Caitlyn and Morgana just play so well together,
Of
being able
course.
to get very easy traps if you land any of those bindings. And, Olaf likes to chase people down. Well, it's really nice when they aren't running away because they're standing still in a binding and you're just hitting them a bunch of times. So I think it not only is it good against YOLO's team here, but I think it also has a lot of good synergy with his own team.
Yeah, it's just one of those like draft pieces that feels really good to slot into place. You're like, oh, it works so well versus them, and then oh, it works so well with us. I bet the Yumi drafters feel like 5-head geniuses right now. It's gotta be a good feeling. But on the other side, Kais and Nautilus, that's a pretty scary bot lane. You're not afforded a lot of mistakes versus them. And Hecarim, one of the premier junglers on the patch, Scaling Copium isn't looking too slouchy either. Pixar once again flying on the board. Urgot for red, a signature pick for him. Camille the answer alongside LeBlanc for Street Smurf. Wow, that's going to be hype.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious. I'm not super familiar whether or not Morgana binding would get blown up by the first chain or whether the second chain would get landed. I'm not sure, but
Depends how much damage it does, I think.
yeah, ultimately it does depend. I just don't know how it would interact if the binding would stay on and they'd still get the is it a snare or a stun at the second end of the chain.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure on that one either. We'll have to look out for it. But
Yeah.
this draft, fastest blazes just blew past us. We got a Vex to answer the LeBlanc. I do like that. The anti-mobility just a little bit coming in. So heavy dive from Scaling Copium versus just the strong lanes, the strong power of Universal Basic Income. Let's get onto the Rift and see what's going to happen. Here we
Yeah,
are.
beautiful cinematics yet again, incredibly done. FOF is amazing.
FOF is amazing. I'm so proud to be a part of this tournament. This is one of the best things to ever happen to me. But here we go. YUBI versus YOLO. They're stepping out onto the Rift, getting out in there. We've got some pings. It looks like YOLO wants to be aggressive. They know they've got the Nautilus. They know they can take good advantage of it. YUBI level 1 ain't so bad either, though. Seems like YOLO's grouping up. Civilak and Street Smurf meet in the mid lane. Everybody's just hovering around there on the bot side. You can see it on the minimap. Just such a beautiful view of mid, though. Yeah, look at them. They're all grouped up. They all want to take advantage of the strength of their level 1, but they can't find a target.
Yeah, do you think they're laying in wait or are they doing a delayed invade? We'll have to see. But it was Utility Monster and that flex with the Olaf, so um I don't recall if he's one of the signature picks. I don't think he's a signature utility monster pick.
Don't think
But
so.
how hard can it be to run at somebody a right click, as he pointed out to me last game?
Hey, he's also gonna throw axes. I think that's harder than Udyr.
Harder than Udyr?
Yeah, no way, right?
Throwing axes? No way. No way.
Anyway, yeah, utility monster. His running people down skills are going to be put to the test. He's usually on like a Zac or just somebody that just hard goes in. Of course, he's going to be hard going in again. Just has to walk a little bit further at him this time. Both junglers are starting around the bot side on their respective buffs, looking to give top lane some attention. I do like this. Getting either one of these laners ahead makes the volatile matchup even better for either side.
Yeah. Warplack did bring cleanse, so if he does get into that binding, he should be able to be okay, but he can only catch one of those early in the game, otherwise he's going to be in big trouble.
And being down in combat some also kind of is rough for Kai'Sa Nautilus. They really want to take these like level 2 fights, just these all-ins early on, and not having a heal or not having an exhaust or something might go a long way into the lack of combat power that they might want to have in these early levels.
Yeah. On the
Looks like
top
they're already
side,
scuffling a bot lane. Jeff's so low already. Looks like could have been a good hook from Frozen Aegis. Warplack following up on that. Now Brian and Jeff are level 2. They're looking for it. Jeff has the traps available now. Binding goes wide, and now it's so bad. Brian gets rooted out. Now he has to flash away. Frozen Aegis on point with these hooks.
Yeah, Morgana is one of those players champions that I love to play against, because in solo queue so many people are really bad with her. They'll throw out bindings just trying to get hooks, and as soon as she misses her binding, she is not even a champion anymore.
Yeah. Now we're also seeing a trade in mid. Street Smurf and Civillock both taking in addition some damage. Looks like Civillock came out just a little bit on top with that. Gonna feel good for the Vex, especially with the wave pushing towards you. Oh, but flash forward from Street Smurf. He gets feared out, has to move back. Flash forward from Civillock gets the first blood, capitalizing on Street Smurf's hubris.
Civillock is known also as Civo Glock and Civo something else, which I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say on stream.
I wouldn't say on
stream. He is known for taking out people that are significantly higher ranking than him and being able to get those solo kills, and yet he still can't hit platinum.
Yep. Ooh, look at the spell immune from Brian, though. Keep him safe. Trap lands onto Frozen Aegis. A lot of damage. Cleanse used. Warplack thought he had heal. He's trying to auto out. Brian saying get the duel, but he's getting autoed by 2 characters here. Has to back up. Trades back and forth, and Cleanse down for free is huge, but flash forward from Frozen Aegis. There's the follow-up from Warplack. Brian slowed down, but Warplack can't quite get the autos off. Still, a kill onto Jeff means a lot at this stage of the game. Now, look at this Bloom 2 on the utility monsters trying to ghost away here. Civillock gets a nice spear to save his jungler's life. It will prevent him from going down.
Yeah, one thing of note in that bot lane is that the spell shield cooldown is significantly longer than the hook cooldown. So when they go in and it gets spell shielded, they're going to be looking to go right back in again shortly thereafter before the spell shield comes back up.
Yeah, now, I don't think we've seen Frozen Aegis play in Mythic before. I'm not sure if we've even had them play in FOF period before, but what an amazing performance they're putting on so far if this is their debut game. Asserting dominance over one of the strongest bot lanes in the league, one of the most respected bot lanes too. Just zero fear, all forward, all gas. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Very strong. They have to get... I mean, both teams are early-oriented champions. Caitlyn is very strong early. She needs to get ahead in lane in order to be able to be productive at all in their mid-game fights. And so they're putting her behind at the same time as getting the Kai'Sa ahead, who really does also need to get that early aggression out in order to get ahead early.
Right. Now Wave's pushing in towards Warplack and Frozen Aegis here. Bloom sees this as the opportunity. The utility monsters also in the area. They see Bloom going in, and they're trying to charge in onto Brian Sang, slowed down by the 90 caliber net. Here comes utility throwing an axe, trying to slow down Frozen Aegis. A lot of damage going in. Brian Sang rooted, has the plasma on him. Another auto attack from Warplack will do it. Takes him down. Frozen Aegis now trying to get away. Flash forward from Jeff God Gamer though. They're trying to chase him with the bush. The utility monster gets him with the axe. The shield keeps him alive just a little bit longer. Jeff finds the trap, and it looks like it will be a 3-kill trade for YUBI. Zivlak had arrived. He's a little bit too late, but he can help crash this wave, and it's absolutely explosive in the favor of YUBI.
Yeah, it would have gone, I think, a little bit cleaner if they'd gotten that first axe off to finish the kill on, I believe it was Frozen Aegis.
Yeah, I mean, Jeff plays this really clean, though. Finds some traps here. Looks like utility had a tough time getting in, but he's auto and balloon out. Yeah, let's see. Just, oh, look at that execute damage. So good. Takes down Brian there. Oh, he's got a sliver of HP. The axe doesn't land. You're right. You're right.
Because
He
then
lives for so long.
Utility Monster would have lived there, I think. If he'd gotten that axe, they could have turned on War Plaque. They could have cleaned that up. And instead gone to... But at that point, I believe Hecarim probably would not have come back in. So, anyways, shoulda, woulda, coulda. But really good answer. I thought Olaf was AFK in the river at the beginning, and I realized he was pulling the dragon out, and then decides to go for the counter gank. Very well played on the side of YUBI.
Yeah, utility, the right place at the right time, and some smooth gameplay from Jeff God Gamer also will salvage that. Bloon's waiting in the wings on the top side though, but Smoke Swag wants to take a recall. Utility's back, bot lane, just walking at him, walks away, asserting dominance. Big Viking, man, you don't want to mess with this guy.
I think they really just want these dragons, so he's coming to help push this wave in so that they can go up and take the dragon.
Yeah, very smart. I like this. You know, you get these dragons stacking early on. You know, you have Caitlyn, you got the wave priority a lot easier. So you just walking up, gets rooted out. Jeff, he's going to be stepping up too far, though. He can't be there. Has to get on out away from Street Smurf. Rooted out, Bloon on the top side. But YOLO's disconnected. Onslaught of Shadows in. And Utility Monster manages to find the dragon. Bloon goes down for free. It's the nice little bonus on top. Zivlak lands the Vex ultimate on the Frozen Aegis. Ignite's ticking down. Ace in the hole goes in. He will be taken down, but Utility is traded in return. Zivlak cannot find another reset. Cannot get in onto War Plaque, but wave will be crashed. Potentially plates going down to YUBI is still coming out on top in these fights.
Utility Monster maximizing his impact score on that play, making sure that the team gets that kill onto Nautilus so that they can continue to keep the pressure on that bot lane.
Yeah, and he's keeping the tempo rolling. I think that this is pretty in character for Utility Monster, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, some people say that Jeff God Gamer, while being obviously powerhouse AD carry in the league, in both Heroic before and now in Mythic as well, has not always been known for being a very strong laner. But in this case, if you're not laning, but instead you're just constantly fighting, that actually fits the perfect narrative for Jeff God Gamer to be able to orb walk and get his kills. Yeah, well, only one so far, but...
Oh, he's got 4 assists, though. He's pretty loaded, especially with the magical footwear.
He's in good shape, yep.
Yeah, feels good. Good insights there. As a former YUBI player, always love to hear those. Looks like, yeah, game's starting to widen in YUBI's favor. It's a 2K gold lead already. They got a dragon in their pocket. Things are looking good. Utility's on his way to the top side as well, looking for the crab and the herald.
Yeah, and Vex is very easy to push waves with. Despite the roam kind of late, not getting much out of it. They're setting up a dive here.
Yeah, they win a dive. Smoke Swag. Zivlak, he's on a ward.
He's sitting on a ward.
They know Smoke Swag gets on out of there, but it opens up the opportunity to take the Herald. Zivlak's been moving around the map so much. I feel like this is one of his strengths, but look at this. Onslaught of Shadows in. They're trying to get in on a Utility Monster, take him down. They will do it summarily, pretty easily alongside Street Smurf. Smoke Swag gets tagged with the Urgot ultimate, but he will survive, will not get pulled in the meat grinder quite yet. Great response from YOLO to find the kill on a Utility.
That was actually very good discipline on the side of YUBI. You could tell Zivlak wanted to kind of go in there, but it was still going to be a 2v3 and was really concerned about doing it, and I think he made the right decision.
Yeah, Red trading with Smoke Swag. kind of questionable for Smoke Swag to go in there, but he's got Bloon for backup now. Red takes a turret shot, and this is going to spell his doom for sure. Picks up Bloon on his way towards him. Smoke Swag goes down, though. It will be a Triumph proc, but it's not enough to keep him alive. Nice little way to find a kill in return there. That's got to feel good. Warplaque stunned up. He's trapped out as well. Double headshot coming in. Jeff Godgamer, he's got the damage. He's got the combos. Frozen Aegis trying to auto down Brian Sang, but it will not be enough. Not even close. Rooted out once again. Built over Peacemaker for the double kill. Jeff flashes the mastery. He knows he's styling on him.
Very, very well played. Well, one of the things I was going to say before Utility Monster got caught in the river there was, and you brought it up as well, that Civillock has been moving around the map a lot. And ultimately, he hasn't been punished for it all that much. I think it's a bit of the matchup here. Normally, LeBlanc wants to move around the map and get picks, but has to sacrifice a certain amount of CS for doing that. But Vex just pushes so easily that he's able to constantly keep Street Smurf stuck under turret and is able to go down, take Dragon, roam down to bot lane, and not get punished.
Yeah, and let's take a look at this replay, see what happens here. Looks like Brian saying he's just he's got the stopwatch, and doesn't seem like Warplaque anticipated that. Also can't cleanse out of the root there. They just will take down Frozen Aegis here too. We saw that part, but another fight in mid. Street Smurf, he's got the chain onto Brian. Void Seeker lands, and Street Smurf follows up, taking down the Morgana. YOLO, they're not going down without a fight at all, despite Street Smurf getting stuck a little bit further back by Civillock's wave clear. Like you were saying, they're still finding the counter punches that they need to.
They do have a lot of tools for catching YUBI out of position. And, you know, no matter how strong Jeff God gets, there's a certain degree where if LeBlanc gets strong too, LeBlanc's still going to be very scary for Jeff God, and he's going to have very good positioning. Another fight we break out here.
Brian's just walking at him, dude. He's finding the root. The hook does move Frozen Aegis forward, but Red's right there starting to gun him down. The ultimate lands, but he's not low enough quite yet. Onslaught of Shadows towards Jeff, but he's kiting it out. Gale Force away. Will land. There's the Killer Instinct towards him as well, but now Warplaque stuck on the backside. Ace in the hole comes out. The fight disbands as both teams try to find their battle lines once again. Street Smurf tagged up, but he will escape with the distortion. Such a crazy fight. I can't believe nobody went down there so close. Bloon being so low means that they cannot contest this dragon, though, and YUBI's going to find the second one.
Yeah, it didn't look like YUBI was all really on the same page there. I don't think there's going to be enough to threaten Brian here, but they were all running towards mid, and then two of them kind of peeled off back to river, and Brian was looking for that snare. I think that they would have easily picked Frozen Aegis if all four of them had committed to the pick in mid lane. But they didn't want to leave their position in river.
Seemed like a really disorganized fight from both sides, but you know they're finding their way in. Somehow, of course, YUBI comes out on top.
Yeah, that's kind of their way, right? Is somehow they still manage to do it.
Yeah, yes they do. Street Smurf. Ooh, Jeff with a great ward though, has a lot of respect. Doesn't want to mess with that guy. Warplaque and Frozen just taking up the mid lane here. They got to get the rotations down. I like that they move the bot lane to mid. They're freed up to let Frozen just roam around and try to find something else. Top side seems to be the play. There's the flip onto Smoke Swag. Red, his machine gun just doesn't stop banging. Warplaque taken down though, ran into Utility in the river, just walked on into him and got torn apart. Utility's so strong and Red's here to back him up. It's a triple kill for the YUBI jungler.
Yeah, now that he's got that Triforce locked down, he's doing so much damage. I don't think he's super tanky that, I don't know who's going to be killing him at this point in time. I don't think anybody really has the damage yet on the side of YOLO.
Oh, yeah, not quite yet. Street Smurf's getting there, but going to be a little bit. I really like the little interaction here between Vex and Hecarim too. If you're able to fear Hecarim, he just starts running away pretty fast. So, like the Vex, little draft micro interaction there. Bloon taken on Red. Onslaught of Shadows, but he buffers through it. Will be attacked by Frozen Aegis as well. Will he be able to find one? Pulls it back in the beat grinder. Feared but nothing else to be found. At least he trades 1 for 1. Gonna open up the map for YUBI as well. Root onto Street Smurf. He's so low here. Ignite. And the Morgana ultimate will finish him off. Another root onto Frozen Aegis as well. Brian saying, oh, he's thinking about the Ignite. Jeff tried to Gale Force and heal him. He missed the heal. It's okay, though, as Brian still lives. Now Civil locks the target. He's getting autoed down by Warp Plaque, but Utility's already on the backside. Smoke Swag coming out of nowhere, too. Kills going down left and right. This is crazy.
Yeah, in the end, you know, this is how some of UB's games have looked recently, where they start to make these very aggressive-looking plays, and you know they're not afraid of shutdowns. I don't know if it's an intentional. Maybe they've looked at Lowalytics or some other website, looked at the statistics, analyzed it, and said, we do not want them to be getting these objective bounties or the objective bounties to get too high. So let's make sure to keep giving them kills. But as long as we get more kills, we'll stay ahead and we will win this game. And that's how a lot of their games have been recently. And they do seem to just constantly maintain that lead. They had a 4K gold lead in about 12 minutes. They've opened it up now to 6K gold lead in 17 minutes. They're just steadily spreading out that gold lead. And despite, you know, YUBI or Red being very aggressive in the jungle and just trying to really punish Bloon, they still are constantly trading kills back.
Yeah, man, is this how it was when you were playing for YUBI too?
No, well, okay, to be honest, I didn't know what was happening half the time I was playing YUBI, but...
Okay, that's fair. Brian saying, Roots out, Warplaque, no kill to be found, I don't think. Blast Cone's out of there, keeps himself safe. Most of YUBI was on a reset. Jeff, he's running back towards mid. He's got the Storm Razor finished. I love Storm Razor on Caitlyn. This item is so good, but Red, we got to talk about him. He's trying to get out of here, dashes away, but look at him. Look at all these members around him. Balloon chops him apart with his big Hecarim halberd. Root comes out, but look at the hook. Pulls in Brian. Street Smurf over the wall now. He's rooted out. Brian has to flash away. How much more will YOLO be able to find? Jeff is kiting it out. He's got the traps. Meanwhile, the whole time, Utility's on the Rift Herald.
YUBI's used to playing in the Heroic League. I mean, there's some of these teams, you can't play too aggressively. You can't be standing 1v5 in River like Red was doing there, and because you're gonna get punished. We've seen multiple games this season where Street Smurf on an assassin is able to just take the game onto his shoulders and get picks on the outside and just turn the fights in their favor.
Yeah, it seems like Red is struggling a little bit to find where he's supposed to be standing, but he's still getting a lot done. I think it's still working out pretty well for YUBI. They're holding their advantage. Red's being quite the nuisance, and it opens up avenues for Utility to get those objectives. He popped the Herald in the top lane to draw some attention up there. That means that they can secure the soul point right here, right now on this Hextech Soul.
My gut is telling me that LeBlanc... Does LeBlanc outscale Vex, or does Vex outscale LeBlanc? What do you think in these two teams?
It is tough to say. I mean, they both kind of do the same thing, but LeBlanc has a tougher time doing it than Vex. Right? They both want to just fly in and one-shot somebody. I think that Vex is probably favored, though, just as an overall better team fighter, since the nature of the game kind of moves towards team fights as it goes further on. I am inclined to say that Vex will be advantaged. Brian with a great shield there keeps himself safe.
Yeah, I agree. I think that Street Smurf is a very good player. And I think if anybody's going to get them out of what's now a 7K gold deficit, it's going to be Street Smurf getting those picks, punishing people for being out of position.
With Street Smurf, he's going down right now as we speak. Gets obliterated after getting rooted out by Brian, who's just continually finding these bindings. So good for YUBI right here. They have the opening to push as well. Seems like Utility and Red are already hitting Bear, and they're already 3K down on the HP bar. Brian finds the root. He's stalling him out. Looks like they want to find the fight. Smoke Swag TP's in. They're disengaging off the worm. Frozen Aegis is walking forward. He's not scared. Rooted out again. Brian just doesn't miss. YUBI Red. He might. no, so close there with the drill. But he doesn't land it.
Yeah, I think Civilak was feeling a little bit nervous there. He was a little low on mana. I think Jeff was a little low on mana too. So I think they happily would have taken that fight if they weren't down so many. I mean, they were down Caitlyn ult, they were down the Civilak ult, the Vex ult as well. So I think they're a little bit nervous to take that fight, but I think they could have done it if they had a little bit more mana in those cooldowns.
Yeah, very potentially. YUBI, super strong right now. As long as Brian keeps landing these bindings, I feel like they can take whatever fight they want. It's so hard for YOLO to answer these as long as YUBI is grouped up and coordinated. And it does seem like that's what they're moving towards, just the constant pressure from Jeff in the mid lane, letting Civilak answer the side. He doesn't have the TP, but he's able to move around pretty quickly, able to push faster than Street Smurf, as we've remarked before. So that will lead to the constant pressure advantage too, and YUBI just wants to maintain this pressure and keep on threatening Baron. But Balloons, he's popping Ghost. Can't find anything though. It's a big waste.
Yeah, and the sad thing is that YOLO doesn't have great ways here to go and get some of these objective bounties off the map. They have a lot of turrets that are sitting, and they're pretty low health, but they're not really able to push very effectively with such a short-range team comp.
Yeah, this is a pretty good call from them, though. I like this. They knew that Civilak was on a back. Red's not there either, but they're just going to get scared off by only 3 members of YUBI. They don't want to even try to find the fight either. Seems like they kept really good track of where the YUBI members were and then kind of lost track. They don't want to try anything. Warplague has to go away from these bindings. This means that YUBI has the positional advantage on mid. They can just start chunking down this turret.
Yeah, they took quite a bit of damage from the Baron, I think, because it took him a while before YUBI actually sniffed it out. And so they had a couple of them that were only about 2/3 health, and they were a little bit nervous, I think, taking that 5v4, even knowing that Civilak was out, because he could actually get into the fight pretty quickly with a long-range ult.
Yeah. Very real possibility that they all just get blown up. Utility, he's walking behind the 2 members, frozen each under attack. He's gonna get not rooted out, though. Brian Sang will shield the second LeBlanc E-tick. Keep him safe from the chains.
Yeah, that's a lot of team trust right there.
Swag launches himself to his death. Oh my god, it's a disaster for YOLO. They all just launched themselves in only to die. It's so sad to see. A Street Smurf even tags. Civilak's going for more. He's trying to blow him up. Ace for YUBI. It's so clean, and it was delivered to them on a silver platter. What more could you ask for?
Brian Sang is ridiculous. Multiple times with these very mobile, I mean, Camille is mobile, LeBlanc is mobile, and he's landing these bindings on them. And as soon as they're bound, they're just dead. There's nothing that they can do. I mean, he has played phenomenally this game. And right now, with the way things are going right now, it's between Civilak and Brian Sang for me, MVP.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, fantastic performance from Brian in this game. Super, super good. I think that all of YUBI's having a good game, except I don't want to point fingers at Red, so I won't. But I think everybody's doing pretty great here. Yeah, they just have a tremendous amount of damage. Can't quite get in. Warplague, he's short range. He can't hit. Oh, it just feels so bad all around. And now YUBI gets the Dragon Soul as well off of this, the Hextech Soul. They're wreathed up in purple and blue, and they're ready to start charging it on down.
Yeah, I don't think Street Smurf has been able to get far enough ahead. He kind of, was doing a little lurking, he gave up 5 CS. I still remember it. 5 CS in the bot lane, hiding in the bush, trying to sneak up on Jeff.Gamer, and just wasn't able to do it. YUBI did a great job of playing safely, keeping their carries alive, and so they've been able to continue to just push these advantages by getting their own picks ultimately and not getting picked.
Smoke Swag, no! Oh my lord! Reaches out for his friends, but he got shot in the head. He can't do it. Can't go on anymore. Jeff Godgamer, he's too strong, man. Look at him. He's 3 items. He's got the Infinity Edge pushing on in. This is probably where the game ends. It's a 30-second respawn timer left. Warplaque trying to go in with the Killer Instinct. Bloom finding his way onto Jeff, but is there enough damage? The Black Shield is so instrumental to keeping Jeff alive. Brian Sang, what a homie! Takes down Warplaque as well. YOLO is in dire straits. Utility Monster charges straight on down. Gets ignited, walks away, walks it off. He doesn't even care. Gunning down the inhibitors now. YUBI, they've got the Baron minions. They've got everything they need to start taking down these Nexus turrets. They're shredding them apart. The Nexus is up next, and they will close out this game. Another dominant performance today.
So much damage, so much versatility coming out of YUBI's team, and they showed why they continually are ranked at the top. And maybe it was a fluke, maybe TDE is up there at the top with them. We'll have to see as we get to the second half of the season, but man, oh man, they are fun to watch.
Everybody's going through the training arcs. Everybody's bringing it up. Great performance from the teams that we expected to see coming in strong this week. YOLO, they've definitely had better games, but they'll get them next time. All right, we will be moving on to an interview, though. Let's hear from somebody at YUBI.
Hello folks, Chris Edgeworth here, second interview of the night, this time joined by Universal Basic Income's Brian Sang. Out of the bot side, the support mastermind himself. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good after a win. You know, it's always really nice to bounce back after a loss and then kind of redeem yourself, so the whole team's definitely feeling pretty good right now.
Yeah, this was a very interesting draft, and let's start there because, as you say, bouncing back from a loss, and this is an overall just very scrappy comp on both sides of it. Of course, for their top laner, they had the Ignite Camille coming in, and then also Bloon on that buffed new Hecarim. And then for your folks' side, though, I mean, the Urgot matchup for red is spicy. Of course, Utility Monster gets the Olaf there. But then you folks get your hands on a bot lane that is tried and true in League of Legends history, the Kate Morgana, and played out to aplomb. Of course, you have the very annoying Glacial Augment on it as well, so you just really have to just kind of get one binding off, and it is just terrible for the other person as long as they're anywhere remotely near their ally. So talk to me a little bit about putting together this draft on your side and what you'd ended up against.
Right. So when we came into this game, we were really looking to, kind of leverage our ability to flex picks in between our members to really kind of get an advantage in lanes. Because one of the things we were most worried about, especially against this team, is that a lot of their members are very individually skilled. And so we felt like the biggest way we could lose was if, they ran over us in lanes and then kind of took over the game from that. So we really wanted to ensure that we had really good lane matchups. So, that involved us using the Olaf as kind of a flex pick between top and jungle. And then Caitlyn Morgana is a very solid, stable lane that we can revolve around. And then, of course, trying to save our counter picks for the jungle for that mid lane. So, once we saw they have four champions with dashes, then Vex becomes kind of a little bit of a no-brainer where we can just kind of use that to really kind of stymie their engages and prevent them from diving Jeff. So we were kind of, once we got into the game, we were really looking forward to they have to engage into us. And so we can kind of play around that because we have these powerful things like Morgana, like Vex, to kind of stop them in their tracks.
Now talk to me, Wood, a little bit about just sort of putting together this early game to mid-game transition. You folks, of course, end up with the full set of Drakes in this game. You picked up the Infernal and Ocean before it turned into the Hex map. What was your principles going into this early game? Of course, with you having, as I pointed out earlier, such a decisive bot side matchup for you folks, and then just getting all of this pressure on the bot side and getting the early objectives.
Yeah, I definitely misplayed the bot lane a little bit. I missed a few more skill shots than I should have, and I was a little slow on my Black Shield. But what ended up happening is that even though they got an early kill on Jeff, we actually managed to get back wave control. And we managed to build up a large wave and crash that into their turret. So even though they start out with an early kill and an early advantage, because they had to farm that wave under the turret, we were able to get some early dragons. And then later on, when they went into us to a fight at those giant of dragons, we just kind of took slight team fight win into a slight team fight win and eventually into a very big win. And so we kind of just built up our advantage over time, and then eventually, they couldn't match us. They ended up giving up a lot to contest us at these dragons. They were sacrificing a lot of farm on their sideways. So every time they weren't able to get it, was just got harder and harder for them. So eventually, one of the things we were most afraid of was, if Camille got big, if LeBlanc gets big, then they kind of split in the sideline. It's very difficult for us to match. But because we got ahead early, and then they kept grouping at the dragon fights, we just ended up being able to kind of run them over and not give them a chance to split push. So it ended up working out really well for us when we showed up to the team fights just so far ahead in terms of our gold and experience.
Well, this was overall just a pretty decisive game. You folks played your outs, and the other team, just as you pointed out, were just unable to get back, get their way on top of you folks, and with this comp that you folks had, it's off to the races after that. So let's turn our gaze forward to tomorrow. I am not sure who your opponent is, but I'm sure you do. But overall, looking forward overall, so BBZ tomorrow. Hey, they just won, so even better. Yeah. Perfect. But you quote unquote stumbled. The one loss on YUBI. Come on, this is not the team that I know. So obviously there must be some thoughts going forward on how you would like to round out the rest of the season for your record.
Yeah, our condition was definitely not good the other day, but TDE played very well and they deserved the win. But hopefully next time our condition will be a little bit better and we'll be able to kind of showcase our strengths. against BBZ tomorrow, we're really hoping to kind of keep this kind of momentum going and make sure that we're all focused. We all take care of ourselves before the game so that we can come into this matchup fist swinging, because we have a lot of respect for BBZ. We have we have a lot of friends on that roster. We know they're all very, very skilled players, so we're definitely looking forward to the matchup. It's going to be very exciting.
As far as things can be said in friend or foe history, these are it'll be the matchup of two storied franchises in our league, so to speak. So, of course, you folks do know each other. There's the ebb and flow of people on the team, but yeah, a lot of familiar faces over there, and it'll be a very interesting game to see play out. So, Brian, thank you so much for the interview. Before we step away, as always, any final thoughts?
Thank you. All I want to say is that I'm really happy. Big thanks to our coaching staff, Ashes of Dreams. He always makes us feel good before the match. So, kudos to him to making sure our morale is high.
Hell yeah. The coach diff comes in clutch. So we like that, and we celebrate Universal Basic Income racking another one, 4-1 on the season. We'll have to see if BBZ can strike after their big win today, putting them at 2-3. So, folks, we do have our third game coming up next. We're going to take a short break before we're back with Game 3.
You